Attention campers, tonight's lecture is liposuction, option or obsession.
Good morning, campers. It's a glorious morning. Today is evaluation day. Keyword here is value. Do you have any? Not yet. But by the end of this podcast, you'll all be skinny wieners. And here I'm joined by our skinny wieners, Brian Mensing, my co-host. Brian, what's up?
How's it going?
It's going great.
I was not expecting that intro.
Yeah, we are introing our movie of the week, Heavyweights, the 1995 Disney live-action classic. This is the beginning of our camp mini-series, our summer camp mini-series. We're doing this for the month of May. We're going to kick it off with the more family-friendly fare this week with Heavyweights. And we are joined by two guests for this episode. First of all, I'll introduce him. He is a part of the Backlot 605 team. He's a contributing writer. This is his first time being on the actual main show. Andy Erickson. Andy, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you, Casey?
I'm doing excellent. And we are also joined by a good friend of mine, Joe Fisher. Joe, how you doing?
Doing well.
Doing good. We are going to talk about Heavyweights, but I want to kick it off first off with this question and go around. Brian, I know you watched this for the first time last night, you said, as we're recording?
Last night.
Your first time watching it?
First time.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it.
It's fresh in my brain.
Good. Andy, how many times have you seen Heavyweights?
Oh,
A lot?
it's a lot. Yeah. I try and revisit it at least once a year.
He's like, how many times this year have I watched it?
For me, it's like kind of like the summer kick. This and Sandlot are like two I have to watch during the summer. Otherwise, it's not summer without them. Do you remember the first time you watched this movie?
I can't pinpoint an exact first time, but I know I was younger, and it just stuck with me ever since.
Joe, you had seen this movie before, right?
Yeah, probably 4 or 5 times.
Okay. Do you remember your first time? Did you watch this in theaters or on VHS or?
It would have been at home. I think it probably played on Disney. And there were a couple of parts that I still remember vividly from the first watch or two.
Yeah, I remember my grandpa and grandma had like maybe 10 VHS tapes, and this was one of them. It was a bunch of the 90s live action Disney movies, and this is one of them that I would watch constantly on VHS. And then eventually when we moved over to DVD, we got that. And yeah, I revisited this about 2 months ago or so, and then watched 20 minutes of it last night and passed out. But I've seen this movie a million times. It's one of those movies I've seen over and over. But yeah, let's go around the room. I'm gonna end with Brian because I'm curious his thoughts, but I think I know Joe and Andy's thoughts on the film. But overall, what did you guys think of it watching it this time around? Joe, I'll start with you.
You know, I went into it thinking, having not seen it for several years, that just based on the subject matter, it might be a little problematic in today's climate. And surprisingly, I didn't find it really to be that way. It was pretty okay as far as today's standards go, and still enjoyable.
A dictator, fitness guru taking over a camp and making fat kids work out.
Yeah, well, just with it being about the comedy being reliant on overweight kids and a really abusive camp counselor. Yeah, I thought a lot of times with older comedies, there are just jokes in there that, maybe would touch a nerve today, and it didn't really have too much of that. So I think it aged pretty well. It's still fun. Yeah, about what I remember it being.
Andy, what about you?
Having seen it so often, like I said, I probably try and watch it once a year.
Yeah.
It stands up every time. It's one of Ben Stiller's best roles. He carries the movie as Tony Perkis.
I like to think that Tony Perkis just changed his alias to White Goodman 20 years later.
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
No, Ben Stiller in general doesn't get enough credit as a comedic actor.
Yeah.
He should be up there with, the Jim Carrey, the Robin Williams type names. But
I think he's, and again with that, like when he's playing like the over the top bad guy, I think he's at his best.
oh yeah. I mean, you get films like Dodgeball, like Tropic Thunder, Mystery Men. I love Mystery Men. I'm just gonna start talking about Ben Stiller this whole podcast.
Yeah, why not? He's the scene stealer of this movie.
Yeah. There also is a lot of young directors in this movie. Because Paul Feig has a role.
Yeah.
There's a Judd Apatow cameo. Peter Berg has a cameo. So,
it has all those mid-'90s comedy guys from New York up in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, so this was your first time watching it. What was your overall thought of Heavyweights for the first time?
The first thing I look at is this movie could easily be made today. It just wouldn't have a Disney banner on it. I don't think Disney would touch a movie like this again.
No,
not with just the way that everything is written out and whatnot. It wouldn't happen. I do think it actually holds up pretty well. There's a little bit of the technology aspect of it that you see a little bit in the movie that would probably be updated for today, kind of thing. The one thing I did see just overall is that every time Ben Stiller would talk, all I could hear is White Goodman. And you're absolutely correct. But the dual role at the end I thought was absolutely fantastic too. So I mean, he definitely puts his A game on for this year, and for being relatively still fresh to everybody back then, he was definitely, pulling out all the guns to be able to pull that one off.
Yeah, I think he is, obviously he's the best part of the movie. He's the character everybody remembers the most, and I would say, in the Ben Stiller canon of movies, this is probably like, I don't know, top 5 of his most memorable characters that he's ever played.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, in terms of what people remember, if they think, oh, Ben Stiller is this character, I mean, Zoolander, White Goodman, then maybe Tony Perkis?
I don't know. I didn't know who the guy was up until yesterday.
Did you live under a rock before yesterday, Brian, or what?
No.
Did you ever go to did anyone ever go to summer camp? That's the next question I have here.
No.
Nope.
No summer camp for me.
Yeah. But if I was going to go to a summer camp, this would be the one I would want to go to.
Why? Because you want to go jump onto the blob?
I would just go for the blob.
The blob, go-karts. All the other kids are fat like me. Because when you're at fat camp, everybody's the fat kid, and no one makes fun of you.
Oh, I tell you what, like just that intro from Kenan Thompson.
It's great.
Getting him onto the, hey, everything's going to be great when we get there was fantastic.
Yeah. Let's start from the beginning of this movie and work our way through it and talk about some of our favorite scenes. The opening for this movie is like, I would say it's pretty iconic just because I watched the movie so many times, where it starts with school letting out for the summer and the entire school just destroy, all the kids at the school just destroy everything in there. They throw all the papers around, and kids making out. It's like that's my kind of school. Why has that never existed?
That's
exactly how we all got out of school.
Throw your papers in the air? I've never seen that done. Did you guys ever do that?
I've never seen it done, only in movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the big movie trope. Everyone throws their stuff and runs around.
There is
I went to the kind of high school that you did something like that. They're like, yeah, we're not going to give you your diploma, or we're not going to let you get to the next grade because you just got yourself suspended.
Yeah, there is a line that Gerald Gardner says in the movie. He's like, you guys got to pay for those, like when some kid is like tearing up his books and stuff. I don't know about you guys, but I really relate to the opening like montage where he's just walking home, because he's running into all these situations that probably would happen to any middle school aged chubby kid where you're gonna walk past the dog and it's gonna try to chase after you, or you're gonna walk past a baseball game and not know how to throw a baseball right.
That part is amazing.
That is
I
amazing.
love how hard he struggles to throw that ball.
You feel it, like you just feel bad for this kid right away. Except when you get to his house, I think he's kind of a little jerk when he's talking to his parents. When you go and meet his parents, Jeffrey Tambor is great as his dad.
Yep.
But
You
at
get,
the same time too, he was also being bum rushed by a guy he didn't know. Of course, he gets on the defensive though.
Yeah, I mean, but he gets really mad really fast at his dad. He calls his dad a fat ass pretty much.
Yeah, he calls him fat.
You're fatter than I am. Why don't you go to the camp? Tim Blake Nelson as like the camp recruiter is great for his one scene that he gets.
He plays that off so well to the point where you feel like he's like that sleazy door-to-door salesman, and like,
Yeah.
why would you why would you send your kid to this camp? He looks like the kind of guy you send the kid to the camp, he's not going to come home because he got murdered.
Yeah, I mean, I never understood why he was the one that gets sent there. He's a short, skinny dude. I'm like, why didn't they send an actual fat person that works at the camp there? Like, why isn't Pat just going around?
He's probably got to be the success story. He's got to be like,
Yeah,
I was
that's
there.
true.
Yep, exactly. This is what you will become.
You will look
a
like Tim
door-to-door
Blake
salesman.
Nelson.
I don't know if I'd want to go to that camp. Yeah, then we get the cut to the airplane introduction to Kenan Thompson's character.
And where he gets his wings.
Gets his wings, Captain. Yeah, I love the introduction of Kenan. They form an instant bond. Basically, it sets up why all these kids enjoy going to the camp just by him saying, at this camp, everybody's the fat kid.
Mm-hmm.
I do love that when we get to the bus showing up, Tom McGowan is great in this movie. I wish he would do some more stuff after this, because he was kind of stuck in those 90s roles for a long time. Just the fat sidekick.
He's kind of one of those guys that you see, you know his face. You've seen him show up in a lot of different things. Most recent thing I can think of with him, he was in an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and he was just the nice, innocent guy that he plays so well. And yeah, instantly likable in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he comes across as the guy they got because they couldn't get Chris Farley.
Can you imagine what that character would have been like if it had been Chris Farley?
No, I don't know if the movie would work if it was Chris Farley.
There wouldn't have been a room for all that personality.
Yeah. Could you imagine Tony Perkis going up against Chris Farley though?
Yeah, I do kind of want to see that.
Yeah, I think that might work, seeing those two together. Yep. But yeah, this is I love the introduction to the camp owners, the Bushkins, played by Ben Stiller's parents. So
well, it was funny is I was gonna say is that when they first show up, it's like anybody who knows Ben Stiller knows his dad, kind of thing, right? And I'm looking at his mom. I'm like, I'm looking at him like, no, this isn't it. This isn't right. And I had to actually look her up, and I'm like, oh my god, the fact that he actually has his parents play them, so he takes over, I thought was genius.
Yeah, and I think they're hilarious in the small little role that they get here. I love I love that Jerry Stiller just starts like bawling. Never let anyone sign you checks.
As he's getting pulled off stage.
As he's getting pulled off, yeah.
At the file bankruptcy.
Jeez, we spent our whole life. What do we have to show? Nothing. Then we get to the great introduction of Tony Perkis. I love this monologue that he gives on the stage. He is so just purely charismatic in this role. there is some. This is definitely like the dropping of dialogue and explaining what's happening, including why his dad shows up at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he got the money to buy the camp, is from his dad, Tony Perkis Sr. The
His
lighting, fixture
all
king.
the lighting fixtures came from him. A little like chandelier drops down.
You're gonna eat success for breakfast with skim milk.
Yuck.
Yeah, there's the scene where he's like he jumps off the stage and wants like high fives from all the kids, and just one kid at the end gives him a high five. I'm like, is that? I wonder if that was scripted or not. Because
I just like that. I like the fact that he's gone to this whole why everything's gonna be so much better, and after all these kids have been deflated because these two people that they used to have been running it is being kicked out. That just he's trying for something that he knows he's not gonna get, but he's trying his damnedest.
And he's like, I look forward to working with children for the first time in my life.
Yeah, and he stereotypes everyone. He's like, I see a successful rap artist.
He points to Keenan.
With Keenan Thompson.
The future president.
Little
He's
kid
not
from
even
Britain.
American.
He's from England.
Yeah, the next scene is the introduction to one of my favorite just side characters in this movie, Lars.
Lars is amazing.
Lars is so good in this movie.
I love Lars at the end.
When he becomes like Andy Warhol or whatever character he is there.
And the
And he's at the party with him.
He's right, yeah. He's at the party and everything like that. But at the very end, like when they do the typical '90s shot of everything, it's freeze frame before it goes to dark. All you just see is Lars in the background, is Andy Warhol, just creepy looking. I was like, this is how I'm gonna have this image burned in my head from now on, because that's the last thing that I saw.
This guy, so the guy that plays Lars, Tom Hodges, I've only ever seen him in one other movie, which is surprising because I think he's really good in Heavyweights and he's really funny. He was in the Adam Sandler's first movie, Going Overboard. He's like Sandler's sidekick in that movie. So I think that's.
I don't think I've ever seen that either.
It's not. It's a really bad movie.
I have not seen that.
It's not even like a Sandler, like a Jack and Jill bad. It's just a bad movie.
I like how you're using Jack and Jill as your bar.
It's worse than Jack and Jill. That's the bar.
That's the floor, and then this movie's in the basement.
Yes. Yeah, that's kind of. I think bringing that up. The whole Sandler crew is kind of apparent in this movie. It's written by Judd Apatow and Stephen Brill, and directed by Stephen Brill, who, Brian, we talked about a few weeks ago, and we did not plan this to do our another Stephen Brill episode. He is the writer of Ready to Rumble.
Yeah, that was just purely coincidental.
But yeah, then we get Alan Covert is in this movie, a buddy of Sandler's as well, and that whole kind of crew is kind of over-present over this entire movie.
It is kind of nice seeing all of these people that are very well known now, 25 years later, and just these obviously they're very young looking and just like, oh, it's so and so and so and so and so. So I mean, like for instance, like I think this is the first time I've ever seen Paul Feig not in a suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And mind you, there's instances in the movie that make you question a few things about Paul Feig. But yeah,
where he's showing off his chicken legs,
where he's showing off his dance moves and his butt and his jorts.
He's really good in this movie too.
He's really good.
Oh, he's fantastic.
The dance scene is one of my favorites.
Yes. This bites.
What are you doing? I'm gonna make this party.
Yes. Right. What's the next? So they introduce all the campers, and then we get to The opening that I opened up the podcast with Keenan thinking he's dead. I'm dead. I'm in heaven. I do love the gliding exercise that they have to do, and like just every kid is just biffing it.
They're just falling down.
Lars has a great line during that scene. I'm feeling skinny, Tony.
Would you been the guy falling down all the time, Casey?
I would be the guy I would be the Keenan and Jerry just standing in the back talking to each other about the Apache relay.
The Apache relay.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the next scene in the movie that we got after that? This is where we get
Do
to
we get to the weigh-ins?
What's that?
Do the weigh-ins come? The weigh-ins are one of my favorite parts too, when they weigh all the kids at camp.
Yes, that is where we're at. I love. Congratulations, Mr. Sims. You are now the fattest boy in camp.
Everyone starts clapping and cheering.
Get down.
Get down.
Yeah, great scene. Where they're taking I love when they're taking pictures of each other, or of like the before pictures. And Keenan just puts his on his ass.
You know, at least one of them was going to do it.
Again, Lars is so good in this movie. I love him.
He kicks out Pat.
Yeah, then this is where we get like where Tony Perkis raids all the bunkhouses to find all their secret candy, which we didn't talk about them hiding the candy in the first place. We should talk about that scene.
Yeah, I was like, how did we overlook the fact that they had like 15 million spots to hide stuff, you know, in the camp,
like hollowed out bunk beds and
yeah.
And the kid that had chocolate melted all over his body, and they just start like taking a swipe at him and licking their hands like they're.
I knew it was too hot in that bus. Yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes as a kid, just because that's kind of a dream. Like, you go to a summer camp and you bring all this junk food.
Well, and then you get the one kid or the guy that's on the Ben Stiller's little team and whatnot. I was a chipmunk last year, so I know where there's this great big hiding place and whatnot. You know,
total jerk move.
Yeah,
right.
Pulling them out.
So,
but it does lead to one of the best lines in the movie, which is, "Oh, look, a deli meat."
Who's packing deli meats to a summer camp?
The one kid on the upper he was in the upper bunk where he
had him taped on his back.
Literally duct taped to his back.
These salamis.
Can you help me get this off? This hurts.
I have to try that for spinal support sometime.
Deli.
Go to the gym with salami on your back.
Yep, and stabilize yourself.
Yeah, we get the another great couple lines in this scene. He has Keenan come over and he gives him a big bear hug. Uncle Tony believes in you, and he pats him down, pulls out this little Pez that he has in his pocket.
It's just a Pez dispenser.
My man's packing.
Unloads it like a gun.
Well, wouldn't you? Isn't that how you're supposed to unload Pez?
Yeah, I guess.
Unload it like a handgun.
We haven't talked about him yet, but Shaun Weiss in this movie is great. Goldberg the goalie is what he'll forever be known as. But
yep, he's always Goldberg.
He's always Goldberg, even then in this movie. One of my favorite jokes, just as a kid, is from this scene here, where Tony is asking like, who's hit all this candy, and he's like, all right, I'll tell you. It was Seymour Butts. Seymour Butts? Who's Seymour Butts? Nobody's seen more butts than you, Uncle Tony. And that's what gets him kicked out of camp.
Yep.
I like the fact that you bring up the fact that he is, going to be always forever known as from the Mighty Ducks and whatnot, to realize that we've got 3 people in this movie that are in the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, we do. We have 3 ducks.
We have 3 ducks.
Ducks fly together.
And at least we get, It makes me kind of want to go back and rewatch the Mighty Ducks because I want to see young Kenan Thompson in the Mighty Ducks too.
That was right around, what year was Mighty Ducks 2? Has to be really close to this one.
Mighty Ducks is always worth a rewatch, though.
Yeah. Mighty Ducks 2, 1994. So he must have, they were just off of Mighty Ducks 2 and went and did this.
Mm-hmm. And of course, in typical Disney fashion, hey, we've got these kids, we need to do something more. Let's just bring them in and do that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I love the montage of they're trying to explain what happened to Sean Weiss Goldberg in the movie, where like what happened to him. Just all
I thought you died.
The horror stories of what happened to him.
Like he got sent to an insane asylum and he hit Tony or something like that.
He pulled a knife on Tony.
Oh yeah. That's exactly how kids' minds work.
Yeah. I heard he's sleeping on a park bench with a homeless guy in New York. I love his return back to camp too, though.
Yeah, Josh was bad.
Josh.
I could have.
Now good.
I thought for a minute there you were lobotomized.
I like you better with a lobotomy.
Yep.
Yep.
Aren't you glad to see my fat ass again? Again, for a PG movie, they get away with quite a few asses and hells in this movie.
Yeah, they do.
It's because it's not, the two infamous S and F words.
No. Yeah, so basically it says that his dad was going to sue Tony. That's how Josh gets back into camp. After this, we get them raiding Tony Perkis's house. Great scene. Again, Ben Stiller.
Until he tries to get the one kid out of there and he farts in his face.
Yeah,
and then that's how Ben Stiller's realizes somebody's in the house because he can smell them.
A fart.
Yeah.
My favorite part about that whole scene is Tony's not content with just going on a jog. He's got to pick logs up and press them over his head and start curling at everything that he sees.
The intercutting
devil
of that,
log.
him running and them in the house, and then cuts back to him running. It works so well.
I'm dogging it, Pat. I'm dogging it. Yeah, I love that they find all the letters back home. This guy's sick.
It's a letter to my grandma.
Is this, I can't remember in order of I think this is after it shows the montage of him writing to his grandma.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that they have to chase a cow with a bunch of baseball bats to get meat.
Or they say that's desperate measures or something.
Yeah.
They're just chasing a cow.
I actually, one of the times when I rewatched this movie, I watched all the deleted scenes, which there's 30, 40 minutes of, and I watched with the audio commentary. So in that, the sequence where they're doing the montage of him writing to his grandma, that's where all the stuff was cut out, is where those scenes were actually, or those little segments in that were actual long scenes. Like Tony around the fire is a 5-minute scene that's cut down to 15 seconds of Tony talking. And apparently when they are chasing the cow, they cut a scene where the kids show back up at camp and they're just covered in blood with their baseball bats. Disney didn't like that one.
I can see why that was cut.
Yeah. Again,
that would have been the most memorable scene in the movie if they left it in.
This is when they find I can't even remember this kid's name. They find the kid hiding in the toilet stall with a cheeseburger.
Oh yeah, they're like, burger wrapper. You can hear it.
I found it.
Was that the kid from England again?
No, that was a different kid.
No.
I can't remember this kid's name.
Oh, the kid with the red hair.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the kid that licked the chocolate off of the British kid's tummy.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I know this isn't sanitary.
Get the great I Want Candy sequence where they're hiding food in a log stump. And again, it's the guy that betrayed him in the opening of the movie that said he used to work in the chipmunk or be in the chipmunk bunk and hid candy. Now he's the one delivering it. What a two-timing jerk.
He had a nice
Well,
change of heart.
He set up his own cartel. That's what he did. He made himself the supply line.
He's like Cheeseburger Eddie from Longest Yard. You know what scene we've completely forgot to cover that is great? We briefly mentioned it. It's the dance scene.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
It's so good. Yeah, Tony sets it up just to embarrass the boys. He invites all the girls from an all-girl camp over. And then the one girl walks up. And do you guys know where the bathroom is? Just every guy just points.
Or even just before that, you got the one girl who's like, "Why don't these boys just lose some weight?" And then the other girl responds to her and says, "Why don't you just? Maybe they need to throw up like you do."
Why don't you teach them to throw up after meals like you?
And Lars is the DJ.
Yeah. Lars is going ham on the DJ.
Yeah.
His dances are fantastic.
And then Paul Feig comes in to save the day.
Oh, he's so good.
The dance.
Yeah, again, I love that scene. And again, Joe, you brought this up when you first talked about your thoughts on the movie, where you thought it was going to be them relying on like fat jokes.
Yeah, it isn't really too much.
No, I don't think there really is any that are like offensive.
No, I mean, like there's some background noise in the opening scene when he's running out of the school. Somebody calling him fat kid or something like that. But yeah, nothing too serious.
And again,
that to me seemed more for the setup kind of thing, but kind of thing. But outside of that, they didn't really, and I think it feels like they did that on purpose. Like, we're already talking about these kids are going to fat camp. We don't need to throw in all the fat jokes on top of it.
Right.
And again, the dance scene is kind of where you could have gone that route and like had the girl just call him fat and put him down even more. But I like that they just have these girls dance with all the fat kids. Like,
dance with them, and they're like kissing in the corner.
Yeah, one kid's making out hardcore with one of the girls.
I like that the go-to move for all the kids was like disco.
Yeah.
At the time too.
One of the kids has a Les Mis shirt on. I'm like, why do you have a Les Miserables shirt?
Yeah, but that was also the British kid that was always seemed to be more cultured than everybody else.
Oh yeah.
No, that was the redhead kid.
Are you sure?
Yeah, the British kid has like a little tuxedo on.
Yeah, he's like all fancy.
Yeah.
The other spot where they didn't really go to the low-hanging fruit was when they introduced Camp MVP, and they didn't really have those kids like take any digs that I remember.
There's the one I would say the coach was kind of nicer than most people. Like him and Pat seemed somewhat friendly.
Yeah.
But there's the one dig when Gerald gets hit by the softball. But then as soon as they make fun of him, they get their edge right back because Keenan like clocks the kid in the balls with a bat.
Yeah.
Yep. That was a good montage with all of them going to the infirmary right away, all bloodied and beaten.
Wait till someone comes back.
Yeah. Is this kind of like cricket? It's not kind of like cricket. It is cricket. And I love that Tony just runs. He's riding bike through it, picks up the bike, and just takes off running with the bike on his shoulder. Like for no reason, just to be a tool.
Yep.
He needs to be able to show him why he's better than the other guy.
Isn't he's like doing like barbell curls with it too, isn't he?
Yeah, some bicep curls with the bike.
You got to keep his heart rate up at all times.
And then we get to again another great Tony Perkis scene where he takes all he weighs all the kids in again after they've been snacking all their hidden snacks. And this is where you realize like Tony Perkis probably has a psychological disorder because he's talking to himself in third person as Little Tony.
Yep.
What's going on, Little Tony? Yeah, then he does the whole they're gonna go on this what was it, like a 10-mile hike or something?
20 miles.
20 miles. Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah, this is I love the hiking sequence. One of the kids falls down and is like passed out. We leave stragglers
Mhm.
We leave
behind.
stragglers.
I was one.
Yep. And he just has this just evil look on his
Yeah.
face. And again, that was one of those scenes that kind of really, to me, it says, this is dodgeball, the pre-dodgeball,
The prequel.
the prequel.
Even in Dodgeball, didn't he like really dominantly wear the color purple all the time too? It wasn't purple pretty
Yeah,
dominant in
Yeah.
that was their
role?
team colors.
Yep.
It's the same guy. It just is.
Just changed his
Yeah.
name.
I think it
Yep.
has to be.
He was a disgraced camp counselor. Now he has to go by White Goodman and own a gym.
Yep.
It would make sense that that he would want to own a fat camp because it shows that he used to weigh like 500 pounds in dodgeball. So that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, he said he
Right.
was like 300 pounds or something at 12 years old.
It's all coming together now.
It all works. I like the scene when they're bet Uncle Tony if he can do a crunch with having his eyes closed.
Have his eyes closed.
I like that he jumped off the cliff out onto that limb and started doing pull-ups too. Like that seems
Like, this
extremely
guy's
dangerous.
crazy.
Legit crazy man.
That's the one time where you're like, I want to watch the branch break. And then see, he does some sort of like superhuman thing to basically show why he's superior than them. But no, of course I didn't get that.
Could have had the branch break and then he like rock climbs all the way back up.
Right?
Goes all Tom Cruise on it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, kiss my butt. It was a great line from Goldberg. Chases him into this. Did they find this trap or did they dig this trap? I think they just found it, right? The big hole in the
Yeah,
ground that Tony
I
falls
think
in.
they did.
Again, great scene. Get Tony locked up behind the chicken wire with the bug zapper keeping him at bay. It's such just everything that happens in this part here is like what a 12-year-old thinks is the right solution to their problems. Like, why don't we just kidnap him and hold him prisoner?
And it works just perfectly.
Yeah.
The adults went along with it. Didn't take that much convincing either.
That's
Because they realized he was the tool bag.
Yeah.
It's
He
because he
started
owed
yelling
Kenny
at
the
him.
cameraman $600.
Oh, what a jerk.
We get the great the party sequence where they're all ordering like pizzas and subs and marshmallows, and that's the dream like summer party right there.
Yeah,
Just
that's
to
like
do that
another
sometime.
kid's dream. Just
Well, and
eating
that
as
is-
much as you can.
That was also one of the other like standout scenes for Paul Feig too. When he just goes, you would think this man was on LSD while he was at that party.
Yeah.
He's
Probably-
dousing himself in chocolate syrup and everything. That was disgusting.
Yeah, you guys should be ashamed.
They also they tie Lars to the tree and put honey on his chest right before the party too.
Yeah, I like how they go up to him. It's like, you can either stay here and rot, or you can come be on our.
Yeah, be on our side.
But we forgot about another great Lars scene. The when he's trying to impress the nurse and they're all swimming. He's got the buddy system.
Yeah. They're on the buddy system. Buddy!
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 Nurse Julie. Yeah, again, when he's tied up to the tree, they're like, are you sure there's no bears in these woods? No, there's no bears out here. You just hear Lars screaming in the background. They come up, it's just a tiny deer next to
Little
him.
deer.
Help me.
That deer was ferocious looking.
I love that party sequence. It's so much fun. It is, again, this is like when you're watching this at like 12 years old, like that's your greatest dream ever, is just to throw a party like that.
Mm-hmm.
I love in the morning that this is kind of like their actual kick in the ass to actually better themselves, because they wake up with marshmallows and pizza attached to their face.
It's the food hangover.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get probably the most important life advice in that scene: don't put Twinkies on your pizza.
So words to live by.
Yeah, Keenan knows what's up. I do like that there is still a positive message in this movie, where it's like, yeah, you can have all this fun and hang out with your friends at summer camp, but you still should probably go on walks and get some exercise, and like it's not all junk food and pizza with these kids. And I do like that Pat kind of steps up in this role and has them actually working out after this. There's actually a positive message.
Yep.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Then we get to Parents' Day here. Again, I like the line in the movie where the dad, Jeffrey Tambor, the dad of Jerry, is like, "You look exactly the same," and the kid's like, "Oh, I feel good." And I'm like, "Yeah, it feels good. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Don't fat shame your kid."
Right.
Then he
He
says
just-
under his breath, he hasn't lost a pound.
Yeah, I love Tony's escape here from his little prison that he's stuck in on Parents' Day. He tricks the little British kid into taking a little Hershey's Kiss from him.
Yeah, his whole escape and then entrance into the Parents' Day is just like one of the
Amazing.
greatest parts of this
I love
movie.
the little movie they make too.
The Camp Hell.
Camp
They're
Hell.
like killing the blob.
Yeah.
Well, I like when
shows Goldberg cutting open a rat and eating it.
Oh God.
I like how you refer to him as Goldberg.
He's just Goldberg.
Yeah, he'll
Josh.
He's just Goldberg. No, I was
always
gonna
be
say it's
Goldberg.
like when Ben Stiller comes into the building there, whatever, when he's up there, but he does his whole flip thing. But when he lands, it's like, ow.
Ouch.
Ouch.
I like it that he says that the villain in their video was a little over the top, because that was totally just a comment on him. Kind of a meta moment.
Yeah. The cinematography. I love when he's walking through and he's just taking all these glasses, throwing them on the ground, just walking
Just
across.
walking on them.
Because he needs to show that he's better and he can do these things. I mean, like the bed of nails with a big old ice block. I do this every morning.
You'll be doing this too in a month.
Y'all be doing this by Labor Day.
Yep.
Yeah, and then Jeffrey Tambor coming in with punching Tony right in the gut. Was he's like, "You, sir, are out of your mind," or something like that. And then Tony comes in, cheap shot, does the the bunch of backflips and just biffs it. Would have been at least. That's one part where I'm like, I wish one of the kids just like threw something on the ground so he'd slip and fall, but he kind of just looks like a chump.
Yep.
He is a chump. Yeah, but again, with this movie, this is the last big scene for Tony Perkis in the movie, and then his dad shows up, Tony Perkis Sr., and takes him away, leaves Pat as the leader of it, and that's kind of again, I don't know how else you would end this movie. With they do the whole Apache relay at the end, but
Yeah.
it kind of for me, it always is a little bit of a downer when Tony Perkis leaves, because you're like, he's the main villain. I don't care about this other sports camp.
Yeah, the whole Apache relay go-kart scene.
Like, I kind of wish they would have revealed like he owned that camp too or something, and then you could at least have him show up there at the end. But yeah,
Maybe.
What?
I said maybe.
Yeah, I like the Apache relay stuff. It's fun. It's not. I don't think. Go
I
ahead.
love
The
the Fast and Furious.
Hall of Intelligence.
It's great.
Well, I was gonna say that in the Fast and Furious ability to win at the very end, because he literally goes over him because he's got that little extra bit of boost with the fan.
He's got the wings.
Yeah, they steal an engine off a boat and put it on a go-kart.
The wings make him go higher.
Yeah, he's the captain.
Captain.
Yeah, I like some of the stuff that they get to do. They set up pretty much everything that like the kids are good at. Like Josh shaving, he's shaving earlier in the movie, and they have a competition where he's shaving the balloons.
The shaving of the balloons. The camp MVP just constantly popping the balloon.
Yeah, I think the Hall of Intelligence is probably the highlight of this.
Oh, especially the little British kid. He's just he gets there and starts talking about the vice presidents, and he's like making the reference that us Americans don't know our own history.
Yep.
Alan Covert is really funny in that scene too. No, 9, like the German expression for no. I can't remember. Is he smoking in that scene too?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think he does not have a cigarette in his mouth.
Yeah, he's always smoking.
No, I don't. I think you're right.
Yeah, the go-kart race is fun. Total 90s thing to have a go-kart race being your big climax of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like Little Rascals.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, then we get to, they, of course, win, which is to be expected in a Disney family-friendly movie. I like that they just do not give a shit about winning the trophy and just throw it in the water.
That's considering the fact that the camp MVP is like, that's all they're there for. They're just there to win. I just like the fact that they're just like, yep, we won. All right, we're good. Let's go do something else now.
They all are wearing their togas and jump in the water after it.
No, can't do that.
Yeah, and then it kind of it ends with the fat camp winning. Pat gets the girl, the nurse, and Jerry thanks him for the best damn summer of his life. And that's the movie. Except there is a post-credit scene as well.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys watch it? Have you seen the post-credit scene for this movie?
I didn't watch it this time.
Brian, what'd you say?
I was gonna say, I was hearing silence. I was like, oh, maybe they didn't realize there was one.
Yeah, Tony shows back up. He's a door-to-door salesman before he buys a gym and names it Globo Gym.
Right. Out there trying to sell crystals.
Yeah. So let's touch on, do you guys have any other scenes that you want to touch on before, or any lines or anything that you guys really dig in Heavyweights?
The one that I always remembered was when Pat and Jerry, they're out on the go-kart track at night and talking about how Jerry just wants to go fast and he's always been slow, and Pat pushes him around the track. For some reason, that was a scene that I remembered from that movie.
Yeah, that's kind of like your feel-good moment of the movie.
Yeah.
Pat and Jerry, bonding over the crappy camp that is.
Yeah, and there's another good scene with those two when they're like out on the dock right after Tony blows up on Pat, and basically they're talking about how they're going to stop Tony, and Jerry just says, "Let's go kick his ass." Yeah, I think that's really the heart of the movie, is that relationship between those two, which is it's a very good emotional relationship that those two have with each other. It works really well for this movie. Brian, do you have any other standout scenes for you?
I don't. Overall, it's definitely a good worth the watch. I don't know. I don't know if I would sit and watch it every year like Andy would, but it's a good movie. It's definitely, you see a lot of, again, all the people that are in this movie that, you know, were nobody back then or less of a person that they are now, to see how much talent is in this movie. Like, if you try to recast for this exact same people, you know, you'd be like, oh, well, they're when our budget.
I'd be down for a heavyweights too. Get everyone back.
Yeah, I was thinking of that. I'm like, how do you do heavyweights too? Do you have like Jerry and Keenan running the camp? Because Goldberg is probably not. Have you guys seen
Goldberg will probably not going to be.
Goldberg is at a different camp for drug problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I want them to do like a Mighty Ducks 4, just so Disney can help Shaun Weiss clean up.
Yeah. That yeah, if you see pictures of him now, it's just hard to look at.
Yeah. But is the kid that plays Jerry, is he even acting anymore?
He's been in some smaller parts. He's like in really good shape now.
Yeah. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Wow.
Yes.
He plays the body of the young Ego, the living planet. So he plays the young Kurt Russell, just his body.
Well, you know,
weird that he's that.
Kurt Russell can't, you know, do everything.
I also saw like them now and then of Lars, and he's like gained a bunch of weight. So it would be great if he like had to go to the camp.
Jerry he did Mighty Ducks and then Heavyweights, and then he stopped acting for a long time. I mean, he was going through middle school and high school. I guess that's probably one of the reasons why.
Yeah.
What, you mean he went to school to concentrate on school? That just doesn't seem odd.
And getting ripped.
Yeah, again, there's a ton of people kind of making their first rounds in this movie, like we said. This is one of the first Apatow produced and written movies, which, of course, he's gone on to a lot bigger things since this.
Yep.
Who's Judd Apatow?
Yeah. Again, Paul Feig in a great role. I would like to see him act more, not with a suit on.
Right.
Yeah, he is a great actor. He should just be in more things.
And loosen up and get rid of the suit. Because he almost seems like everything he does now is almost the embodiment of that suit.
And bring back the jorts.
The jorts and the cutoff jersey.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, with the bare midriff.
Yeah. Quite the look. Yeah, again, I would like to see a Heavyweights 2 would be fun. I think everybody that was involved would be down to do it.
What would you do for an antagonist in that situation, though?
I think you bring back Tony.
Yeah, Tony would come back.
But how would he come back? There's no way anyone would sell to him again, would they? You'd have to be crazy.
I think I would do it where, like, no one goes to summer camps are not really a thing anymore, and the camp is, like, dying, and Tony comes in and sweeps it up, and they have to try to get it back and make summer camps a thing again.
I wanted to be Tony's twin brother.
Timmy.
White Goodman?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Heavyweights 2.
Dude, just do Heavyweights 2 and Dodgeball 2 together and just finally combine the two universes.
Well, then you'd make the argument that the Ben Stiller characters from Cable Guy were also the same characters from the Heavyweights universe because they were twins. Sam and Stanley Sweet.
The serial killers?
Yeah, the serial killers.
Man, I haven't seen Cable Guy forever.
It's been a long time since I have too.
That movie.
Yeah. Cable Guy is underrated.
It is.
Yes.
All right. So I'm looking at like the Rotten Tomato score for Heavyweights. 29% in Rotten Tomatoes. But then the cinema score for the movie is an A-.
I'll take that.
One of the reviews I found on it, Heavyweights is really two movies in one, and they don't mesh. One movie is a no-holds-barred spoof of fitness-style merchants. The other is a conventional family comedy that pokes lighthearted fun at the chubby young campers. I think the
Like
two work really well together.
I
Those
think
two.
they do work well together.
But see, that is why we're in the 77% as opposed to the 29% for the critics.
That was also the Rotten Tomatoes. There is only 7 reviews for Heavyweights.
Well, if they were just going to do another generic camp movie, it would have been all about Camp Hope and Camp MVP. That would have been the
Yeah.
whole movie.
Yep.
But Tony Perkis kicked it up a whole different level.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, if that would have been the traditional 90s comedy of the fat kids versus the jerk jocks, Little Giants being one of those movies.
Pretty much.
The Sandlot has the one scene in it where it's the jocks versus the ragtag group.
Yep.
Yeah, again, I think if it wasn't for Tony Perkis and Ben Stiller in this movie, I think we might not be talking about Heavyweights in 2020.
Not
Been
nearly
pretty
as
average.
memorable.
Yeah.
Why didn't Ben Stiller do Hot Shots 3? Like, I'm just looking at some of these images, and all of a sudden I just picture the way Charlie Sheen was in Hot Shots Part 2.
Yep.
And like, they should have just let him take over the franchise.
You can imagine him with a purple bandana.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Because he would look a lot like what he did in Heavyweights with a different bandana.
Complete with the Tony Perkis mullet.
Yup, exactly. He wouldn't have to change much, including his own character.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. What's everybody's favorite scene from the movie? If you had to pick one scene and you had to show someone that has never seen Heavyweights, what's the one scene you're going to point them to?
Oh man.
I think the scene I would have to go to for that, I might go with the party scene where they're throwing the party with all the food intercut with Tony sitting in jail. I think that might be the scene where I show people what Heavyweights is.
I would have to do the introduction of Tony from where we see like Ben Stiller's parents and all of that stuff, and then his introduction.
Yeah, I think that monologue right there is really sets the tone.
Up to the kid yelling, "I want to go home."
Yep.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with the introduction of Tony Perkis. Pretty much encapsulates the movie pretty well.
Very much so.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best scene, maybe the most iconic and quotable scene in the movie.
Yeah, every scene's quotable, but that's definitely up there. That or the dance. The dance is great.
Yeah, the dance is great. Last comment I have on Heavyweights is the poster. I hate the poster.
You like the poster?
I don't like the poster.
Holding up
the giant hot dog
the
with
big sandwich.
Yeah.
It really doesn't do much.
Yeah, it doesn't really give the tone of Tony should be on the poster, I think.
Yeah, why was Lars featured there?
Yeah.
And what's he wearing? Is he in a Canadian tuxedo there? Or?
They're all wearing clothes that they don't wear in the movie. Like they don't wear the yellow Camp Hope shirts. Lars never looks like a Boy Scout.
He's kind of dressed like Jerry Seinfeld.
A little bit. Keenan is only holding the hot dog up with one arm. Yeah, that's the one thing I would change about Heavyweights. I would make a different.
Well, and I found a different poster where basically all they did was just it's the exact same image except they changed their clothes by Photoshop kind of thing. But you're right. I mean,
there is the re-release, like the Blu-ray cover too, where it's literally the original poster with Lars and the hot dog, and then off to the side is Tony giving a thumbs up.
Yep, I was actually just looking at that.
Yeah, that's what that was the Blu-ray release for it.
Yeah, if you zoom in on Goldberg in this Lars poster, it does look like they just pasted his head on there.
Yeah.
The one
they all looked Poorly photoshopped.
These look like the photoshopped images of them being skinny in Tony's house.
Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap it up, guys. I think we would all recommend heavyweights, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes, Brian, would you recommend heavyweights?
I'd recommend it.
Good. I'm glad to hear. That was what I was worried about, because you had never seen heavyweights before. I didn't know how it was going to hold up because most of us watched it at a young age. So that's good. I would assume
for me, it's one of those things I would recommend someone watch it, but to enjoy the oh my god, I can't even talk today. The performances of people that you didn't realize were in it, everything like that. Is it something that I think is very rewatchable for myself? Maybe not. Maybe once in a while. But definitely it's worth to say. Hey, you should at least check it out. You can see, like I said, early careers for so many people in this film.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Ben Stiller is fantastic in the movie, and I think that's how you hook people in now if they had never seen heavyweights. You hook them in with the Ben Stiller.
Yep.
They need to let Ben Stiller fly more like he did in this movie. Just let him go nuts.
Yeah, I would like to see, because what's the last real crazy one is Dodgeball, and that was like 2008.
Yeah, unless you're counting Zoolander 2.
Well, that was a bad movie. Yeah, not a good movie. That is not the sequel he should have done.
No, it was not.
And don't forget Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, Tropic Thunder.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let's wrap this up. This was our episode on Heavyweights, a 1995 Disney live-action film. It is on Disney Plus right now, so if you want to check it out and kick off your summer by going to Camp Hope, that's where you can find the movie. But where can everybody find you guys online that have joined us for this episode? Joe, I'll kick it off to you if you want people to find you online.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, I have Twitter. It's just at Joe Fender 813.
Awesome, Andy.
I also have Twitter. It's Andy Erickson, and you also should be able to find me on Letterboxd with just searching Andy Erickson.
And Mr. Tony Perkis, Brian Mensing.
I'm Tony Perkis.
You're the Tony Perkis of this group.
I feel offended now.
Brian's the lighting fixture king of our group.
I'm the lighting fixture king. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram under LP Freak, and then you can find me on Letterboxd under LP Freak Forever.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Casey_the Horror Guy. Follow Backlot 605 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And this podcast is available on Apple, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, and YouTube. And you can also join the South Dakota Film Community Group on Facebook. Join us in a conversation there. Let's talk about movies on that group page. And then we'll give a little tease of what we got coming up. We're going to continue with our summer camp movies. Next week, we are going to be joined by our other Andy, our other good friend, Andy the Fat Dude, for another movie Brian has not seen, and I'm even more scared of his reaction to. That is the 80s slasher film, Sleepaway Camp.
Ooh.
I cannot wait for Brian's reaction to that. Brian, me and Andy laid down a challenge to you to record your reaction to the last 5 minutes of the movie. We're going to hold you to it.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, I can't wait. That's going to be a lot of fun. Please record yourself watching it. It's going to be wild. Yeah, so that's what we got coming up, and we're going to continue with 3 more summer camp episodes after that. So that'll bring us to the month of June. And anyway, that's what we got for this week. Once again, thank you, Joe and Andy, for joining us. We'll have you both back on when we figure out what else we want to do. Maybe we'll do a sequel to this. Maybe we'll do the dodgeball episode.
That'd be great.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, Brian, we're going to sign off here. Do you have any final words for the people?
Stay safe. Don't do anything stupid. There's still people that are sick.
And don't put Twinkies on your pizza. Thank you all
Don't put
again for
Twinkies.
listening, and we'll check you out next time on the Backlot of South Dakota.